Hi, I'm Jody Espina, president of JodyJazz, Shedville and Rousseau, and we have a special event today. One of our JodyJazz artist endorsers here at JodyJazz, the beloved Fred Vigdor, the Freddie V, the Great.
Oh, shucks.
Freddie, thanks so much for coming by. We've been hanging out, playing mouthpieces, eating lunch, going through the factory. Freddie has blown us away with his sound, and you're going to hear a great saxophone sound here.
Oh, who's here?
Freddie V. Freddie V. In person. But you may not be able to tell how giant his sound is. And you know, with my job, I've gotten to listen to some of the greatest saxophone players and sounds in the world, and you have one, man.
I have one of them.
You have one of them. You have one of the great sounds.
Oh, thank you. Wow. Oh,
no, you have one of the great sounds. The sound is so big, it would get you kicked out of your apartment, off your block.
It has.
You have that potential of giant sound. So what brings Freddie here today is a vacation in Savannah. But apart from that, trying some mouthpieces. Freddie, how long have you been on the DV on alto?
I'm going to say 2006. Same time I think I got the DV, the same time I got the DV on tenor. So
cool.
That was about 2005, 2006.
Yeah, we were in the loft in Manhattan.
Yes, and I remember that. I walked in, and we didn't really know each other that well. And yeah, I think you asked me, I don't remember, you might have said, like, what kind of music are you playing or whatever, and you just handed me this mouthpiece. It wasn't even like I tried a bunch of them, and it was like, here, take this and go in there and try it. And you had a little booth, a little soundproof booth, and I tried it. I was like, wow. And that was it. I don't even think I tried a whole bunch of mouthpieces.
And that has happened to a lot of people. That mouthpiece, the DV, it's my mouthpiece too. It's my alto mouthpiece. I'm doing a lot of gigs where now I'm on the DV New York. I'm the dark one. Mm-hmm. But what I wanted to do is just kind of let you play through some mouthpieces and show people what it's like, the different sounds, and maybe get into your head like how it's different. I know you don't change and try mouthpieces a lot.
I don't. This is the first time in 5 years that I've messed around with mouthpieces. So.
And you notice, you know, I'm always coaching you on reeds, right?
Yeah. Yeah, and it does make a big difference. You wouldn't think it would, but it really does. Even within, like we were talking about, within one box of supposedly all the same strength reeds, there's a lot of variables in there.
Yeah,
a lot of variables.
No matter who the player, how experienced they are, I find that everyone underestimates the importance of that right reed for the different mouthpiece, to optimize the mouthpiece. But let me stop talking. Let me hear you play, if you would. Grace us with some DV alto.
Okay. Is that enough?
That's beautiful.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. And again,
I'm looking forward to hearing this as well, so I can really hear what it sounds like out front.
Yeah, and Freddie was worried about my hearing. He was worried about my hearing, and rightfully so. I checked the decibel thing on my app.
Did you really?
Yeah, it's loud. All right, so that was burning, and the question is, can you play something pretty on the DV alto?
Let's see.
Very pretty.
I don't know. So can I? Yeah, I guess
yes,
I can. Okay.
Very, very pretty.
Okay, thank you.
So what you related to me over the pandemic was that your touring band, Average White Band, stopped touring like everybody else did. And did you kind of lay the tenor down for a minute? And
Yeah, I mean, I was practicing a lot of tenor when the pandemic started, and at some point I went through a little reed crisis. So I put because they were hard to get, and I put it down, and I started playing alto again because when I started in Average White Band, I was the only saxophone player. And I was playing alto and tenor, and I was using a harmonizer and try to emulate the parts on the original record because it was two horns. And then about 8 years ago, I talked him into hiring another saxophone player. And so at that point, I put the alto down totally and was playing all tenor. But alto was my main act, so I started on alto.
yeah.
And so I just decided that I was going to start shedding, and this is a great mouthpiece. I love it. But I started to wonder if maybe something, a little more rounded for me, just to see what it would be like. Because I don't even know what kind of gigs I would be playing on alto at this point, And I'm really into Maceo Parker, and I think that maybe something in a hard rubber might help me get in that ballpark. Because at this point, I'm trying to sound like David Sanborn is a lost cause, I think. So I'd rather go down a different avenue, if that makes sense.
If you were really asking about that, I'd be handing you a Superjet, and we'd be done.
Okay.
Seriously, but so maybe before you go, you should
might,
try it.
Yeah.
So if you have that,
I don't know if I
call-
want to though.
But I mean, if you have that call, it's like
yeah, I guess it's. I'll
guys get a call and they want David Sanborn and they don't have him there.
I think it's more than, but I think, and you probably agree with me, it's more than the mouthpiece, though.
Well,
you got to have it. It's got to be in your head and all that stuff.
Yeah.
And I was starting to wonder if maybe it's just not even in my head. So, even though I love Dave's playing and would love to sound like that, there's also a million guys that already are down that road anyway. So
Yeah. Well, we're going to go through some mouthpieces here, and the Maceo thing is a thing, and I hear when you're playing, when you start to get it, I can hear that you can go there. Mm-hmm. It's a very cool thing. So you had called about the Custom Dark.
Yeah, because a lot of cats that I know were playing.
You saw Mike Burton.
Yeah,
and
Mike's
Jeff
one of my
Kashua
one of my favorite players, and I was like,
and,
man, he's
and
playing.
he
one
sounds great on
Yeah.
it. But I was like, that's going to be too dark for you, Freddie.
And you were right.
And I was saying it's between HR Star and Jet. Mm-hmm. And so let's do this. Let's go maybe from Jet first.
Okay.
And Freddie's playing a DV8 and Jet 8.
Right.
With about a 3 soft or 2H.
I think this is a 2H.
2H, yeah.
I think we decided the 2H.
Yeah.
I mean, if I could find a 3 soft that was a little softer than, some plant in between,
yeah.
I think that would be, that would be the perfect.
And you've been playing kind of 3 mediums, but on the soft side of 3 medium, I think, on the DV.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. How's your ears now?
They were really some popcorn in my ears.
I'll bet.
Woo! Great.
I like this a lot. It's just a little fatter than the DV, I think. And again, it's all from this side of it. I'm really curious to hear what it sounds like on the other side.
Yeah.
It's slightly warmer. I feel like we're talking about wine now,
Yeah, it's got a hint of strawberry.
Yeah. And I think it's a little warmer, just a little rounder. Definitely easier to play, but that could be the reed is a little softer, So it's And because I play so loud, I go through reeds really quickly.
Yeah, yeah. That's why you need a little bit of harder.
Right, which is why I think, I may end up with the 3 soft and just get it to where I need it to be.
Yeah, yeah. Those reeds, everybody, I mean, if you don't know, they're going to have a break in time. They're going to go down maybe up to a quarter strength. They're going to come down when you break them in. So the best method is this whole careful reed rotation. I play 5 minutes a day on each reed for like a week or 2 weeks. No loud, not too high, not too soft.
Do you do that?
Hell no. But I've been fortunate about getting reeds from Diodario.
Right. Yeah, me too. Yeah.
But if I didn't, I would do that. That's what you have to do to break it in so it doesn't get that downgrade.
Yeah. No, I mean, I do that. Really I do works. That to a certain degree. I mean, I went through this last week. I just got a couple boxes, soaked them for a couple minutes, and played them for like 5 minutes, and then put them away.
Yeah.
And then the next day, you hope that eventually the good ones are going to kind of make their presence known, and then you rotate among those. So.
And this is before cutting them all down, because there is the whole thing. But you can let them get down to where they're going and then deal with them. That's really what we should be doing. So let's now go to the HR Star, which is, I was predicting almost maybe that you would be between this and the Jet.
It was, I'll tell you, before I played the Jet, I thought that would be the one. I mean, it was nice. I liked it a lot. Well, I'll just play it instead of.
And let's use the same reed on it.
Okay. So, sitting here talking about sound versus actually producing it. I'd rather produce it.
But talking about how it feels. Doing these reed things,
because like you were saying before, it's all really about comfort. It's what you're, because, well, I don't know. We'll find out. I'm going to find out whether the sound, how different the sound is when I listen back to it. But so much of it is, what you're hearing and what you're feeling versus what it sounds like on the other end of the horn. How easy it is for you to get that sound that's in your head out. This mouthpiece, definitely, this is the one. This is the one for me. This one is a little harder to get what I'm hearing.
Yeah.
And I feel a little more resistance than I like.
Well, it should be. I mean, it should be a straight ahead jazz mouthpiece on a little bit of the bright side. That's where I think it is. And so.
And I could see if you were like, because it's all about where you're coming from too.
Yeah.
Like if you were like a straight ahead jazz guy and you wanted a little more edge, this would be perfect.
Yeah.
But I'm the exact opposite.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so you've played the HR Star, you played the Jet, the DV, and you thought, because you heard a bunch of guys switching to this, I just thought, because again, where you're coming from, but I was surprised when those guys switched to this too.
I'm surprised that when I played it, that those guys were playing it, because they sound great on it.
But you sounded great on it.
Okay,
because I didn't.
It didn't feel. Sorry.
Yeah.
Sorry. It didn't feel like it sounded great. You know what I mean?
Check it out. Let's try this.
Okay.
Now this goes in pretty far because it's a really big chamber.
Okay.
When you look in there.
It blows easily, and it's just a different sound. I'm hearing a different sound. It does sound different, right, to you?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
But it's...
And for me, I like just a little more cut.
Yeah.
And that's what the Jet, for me, I think that's the happy medium there.
Yeah. Well, that's Freddie Vigdor going through some alto mouthpieces. He's a great player. Great player. The sound is... you know, that's one of the big things about a saxophone is this sound that can grab you. Either it grabs you or it doesn't. It leaves you feeling something or nothing. When you play, it grabs you. It feels something. I mean, because you're putting so much into it. I don't know. We have time. Who gives? We have plenty of time. How do you get your sound? Where did you get the ideas of how to blow? You know.
Man, I don't. I mean, that's one of the least things that I really worked on. I think that was the. I mean, as far as it's. I don't know. I practice long tones like everybody does.
There had to be an example that you were trying to get up to. Somebody, some record, somebody
well, we were talking about today. Tom Scott, man. I mean, I don't even know if you hear it when I play. I don't think it's there, but he was like the first guy with a great sound that was playing vocabulary that I could relate to.
Yeah.
You know, had like a combination of things. Him and, you know, Sanborn, Lou Marini, who I studied with for a long time.
No kidding.
Yeah, I studied with him right out of high school. My dad, like, he came and played at our high school as a guest artist, and my dad convinced him somehow to give me lessons, and we should go down to the city and study with him. And he taught me a lot about that stuff. And his sound, he has a very unique sound. His alto sound is unlike anybody else's. That he's got that growl, and it's, you know, and it's perfectly in tune, and great ideas and everything. And he was a big influence. I don't think you hear it when I play, but I hear it. You know what I mean?
See, it takes these conversations sometimes to go back and, oh yeah, I was influenced by that, and I was influenced by Lou Marini, and I wonder if he ever told you anything about embouchure or
Oh, well, he definitely,
breathing.
I mean, when I went to him, I was in high school. I didn't know what I was doing, and he handed me the Top Tones for Saxophone book.
Sigurd Rascher, yeah.
Absolutely, and said, you know, go home and practice the da 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 da, you know, and that was a big change. That was the first time that anybody had ever told me to play long tones.
Did he have to coach you on, as far as when you got into the harmonics, not biting or something, anything like that?
We never, you know, that's the thing is we never really talked about embouchure. I mean, with him, I went to other guys after him. I studied with Vic Morosco for a while, and he talked a lot. He studied with Joe Allard, so we talked a lot about embouchure and things like that. And he probably corrected quite a few things. But you know, I'm still learning, man. I'm still trying to figure it out.
You know, I think you are coming from this. We could call it a Northeast or a New York, New England
Definitely
thing.
Yes.
Is Joe Allard. There was Joe Viola who taught a lot of people. But these guys influenced a lot of people.
The web is very wide with those cats, you know.
Yeah, and I mean, still, like I say, you may not be able to hear it through computer speakers or whatever, but the sound is extraordinary. It's big, vibrant, and expressive, and that, to me, is, you know, 70% of the battle, because you can play two notes and people can feel it.
Well, that's really what you want. I mean, you're not going to grab them with, you know, licks. You're going to grab them with the sound of, you know, of your voice. Absolutely.
Yeah. Well, it's been a real pleasure.
For me too.
Yeah. And if you wouldn't mind, play something out on the HR Star Custom Dark. And
is that what this? Oh,
yeah.
Okay. All right.
Just don't worry, just play. Okay.